My name is Alara Vance, and the day my son told me family first, I didn't realize he meant everyone except me. I didn't realize those 2 words would push me straight toward a decision that would change every bond one thought I could trust. But the moment I walked into my bank to close my empty account, the manager pulled me aside and said quietly, "Mrs. Vance, you need to see what your son attempted." That was the second my world shifted, not from shock, but from clarity that I wasn't some helpless elder who misplaced a few dollars. I had worked 4 decades to build that nest egg. Every shift, every sacrifice, every holiday spent at the hospital instead of home. All of it poured into one account I believed would carry me through the quiet years of my life. And yet, it vanished in a single morning. Not because of tragedy, not because of illness, but because my son chose someone else's burden over the mother who raised him. I told myself I could live with that choice, until the bank manager opened a folder with my name on it, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Your son didn't just take your savings. He tried to take something far bigger." My hands were shaking when he said it, not because of age, but because something inside me understood, instantly, that I hadn't just been taken advantage of. I had been targeted. The manager closed the folder slowly, like he was afraid the truth might jump out of it. "Mrs. Vance," he said gently, "before you do anything else, you need to know someone has already tried to access what they thought you forgot about." My stomach tightened. Forgot about? I hadn't forgotten. I had simply tucked it away in the part of my mind reserved for grief and old memories. Something my husband and I built long ago, quietly, carefully, for the future of our family. But someone else had discovered it. Someone who was already counting it as theirs. That was the moment I realized. Losing my savings wasn't the real betrayal. It was only the opening move. Before this story ends, you'll understand exactly why I walked out of that bank a different woman, and why my son and his wife never saw what was coming next. 1 week later, the Foleys threw a party. Champagne, decorations, catering, all paid for with the savings I had given to keep them afloat. I stood in the kitchen, quietly observing, pretending to admire the countertops. And then I heard her, Seraphina, laughing. Her sister leaned in, whispering, "Do you think Alara will ever get that money back?" Seraphina tilted her head, a dry laugh escaping her lips. "She's old. She doesn't need it. What's she going to do? Take a cruise?" Then came the words that cut deeper than any knife. She called me a doormat. Said her family needed my savings more than I did. Said I would never see a penny returned. The shock didn't make me cry. It didn't make me shout. It made something inside me harden. I went home. I made tea. I sat quietly. And I realized something important. Family first doesn't mean the same thing for everyone. For Leland, it meant protecting his wife and her family, even at my expense. For Seraphina, it meant taking every advantage she could. For me, it meant protecting myself and the legacy they didn't know existed. That night, I understood something I should have known long ago. Good intentions without boundaries are a dangerous gift. 2 days later, I went to the bank to close my empty savings account. My hands were steady, or I told myself they were, but my heart raced. The teller, a kind young man named Tobias, recognized me immediately. "Ma'am," he said softly, "the branch manager asked to speak with you if you ever came in to close your accounts." I felt a chill. I wasn't sure if it was caution, or the sense that something bigger than my $285,000 was about to be revealed. I followed him to the back office. Mr. Harrison, the branch manager, gestured for me to sit. He opened a leather folder with my name on it. "Mrs. Vance," he said carefully, "your son recently submitted a request regarding the Vance Family Trust." I blinked. The trust? I had almost forgotten it existed. It held the 10-unit apartment building in downtown Portland, an asset worth $2.5 million. Completely mine, and only accessible to the heir I had designated. Mr. Harrison leaned closer. "Your son asked to assess it for collateral purposes." My stomach dropped. They weren't just taking my savings. They were circling what really mattered, the foundation I had spent decades building. Then he showed me the critical detail, a clause my late husband had insisted on 20 years ago. If the grantor transfers more than 75% of their liquid assets to anyone other than the named beneficiary, the grantor may remove the beneficiary and designate a new one immediately. My jaw tightened. By giving Leland my savings, I had activated it. The very act they thought would give them power had handed me the ultimate advantage. Mr. Harrison asked who I wanted to name as the new beneficiary. My first thought was Leland. He was my son. But he chose his wife's entitlement over my well-being. He stayed silent while she dismissed my sacrifice. So I chose someone else. Someone innocent. Someone who deserved protection. My granddaughter, Ophelia. She was 16. Quiet, thoughtful, completely unaware of the chaos surrounding her. I added a rider to the trust. She would gain full control at 25. Until then, a trusted financial advisor would manage the income, 75% for her education, 25% for my living expenses. Leland and Seraphina? Completely cut out. The apartment building they assumed would secure their future was now legally untouchable. I still had a small checking account. I withdrew the balance, moved it to a credit union they didn't know about, and secured my independence. That night, I sent one email. My future and Ophelia's are secured. There is nothing left for you to take. Then I blocked their numbers, packed a small bag, and left town to stay with a close friend. When Leland tried to access the trust, when the tax bill arrived in Ophelia's name, when they realized the $2.5 million was gone, all they were left with was the debt I had already paid. If you think I did the right thing, comment, family first, but choose wisely. If you disagree, tell us why. Your perspective matters. Before this story ends, remember, protecting your future isn't selfish. It's necessary. Subscribe now to see stories that warn, teach, and show you exactly why trusting blindly can cost everything. And if you refuse, go to the comments and explain why you'd rather stay unprepared. All accounts are closed. The Vance Family Trust has been legally ended.